Hi everyone, welcome back! It's been a long while since I've posted a long-form video here on YouTube. Initially, I was going to post some old footage of me doing a mixing chart, but the opportunity and idea for this video came up, so we are changing the plans. So I spent nearly the first 4 months of this year not painting at all. But recently, I finally unpacked and sorted through my art supplies, and a couple of weeks after that, the free sketchbook revival challenge happened. If you are unfamiliar with it, it is a series of workshops focused on several different art mediums that remained free to watch for about 2 to 3 weeks. And while sorting through my sketchbooks, I found about 3 of them that I have yet to finish, so it was the perfect opportunity for me to get through them. There is one sketchbook in particular that has black paper, which I haven't used since 2022, and honestly, I struggled to use it because of it having black paper. Well, one of the workshops this year in Sketchbook Revival was about painting fruits using gouache and coloring pencils, and I find that gouache is the perfect medium to paint on colored paper. However, I was too lazy to pull out my one and only gouache palette, so instead I decided to use my watercolors. In case you have never tried it, you can kinda mimic gouache with your regular watercolors by simply mixing them with white. This is a super easy way to try gouache without investing in a new medium. So there I went to paint through that workshop and I grabbed my Frankenpalette. I used the white watercolor as a base for all the colors and I absolutely loved the result I got. As a matter of fact, I loved it so much that I decided to carry on finishing that sketchbook by painting more fruit and possibly vegetables, but when I was halfway through one more sketchbook spread, I ran out of the white that was included in my Frankenpalette, both on the big palette and the mini version that I keep in my art bag. So then I decided that I should take this opportunity and downsize my collection and refill the white with a new mix. If you haven't watched my Frankenpalette video, this palette has basically been set up by combining, in different color families, a lot of different watercolors I was struggling to use. I already kept at the time a palette of leftover watercolors, but with this Frankenpalette, I took it to a whole new level and combined both leftover watercolors and watercolors that I simply wanted to use up. Now, white watercolors are not something I will use often while painting, and honestly, white gouache is definitely a winner when compared to white watercolor. So let's just say that I do have more white watercolor than what I generally need. I haven't shared here yet the sketchbooks where I do color comparisons, but many years ago I started to compare the same color across the different brands that I own in an attempt to downsize and have just one color/pigment instead of multiples across different brands. So in the middle of all this, I also decided to pick that project up. This is the perfect way to compare what I currently have, decide on at least a few that I want to remove from my collection, and refill my Frankenpalette, which at this point will forever be my junk watercolor palette that I reach for so I can paint without the pressure of using precious art supplies. So let's grab some of my whites, swatch them, and choose which ones will end up being mixed together. I'm not showcasing all of my whites in this video, as not only do I have duplicates of the same brand, but I also have some whites in palettes that come in as a set, and I'm not ready to downsize them out of those palettes as they are still useful. I'm going to be swatching all the whites in 4 different black papers. The black sketchbook I mentioned and showed earlier, which is actually a Moleskine black photo album. It isn't made out of watercolor paper and it has hot press texture, but it does work with gouache. The Van Gogh black watercolor paper, which I don't really like because of the way its texture looks. It is cold pressed and 360 GSM. The Cassart London black watercolor paper, which is cold pressed and 320 GSM, and this will be the first time I try it. And lastly, Blue Pine Art's black watercolor paper. It is an Indian-made 280 GSM watercolor paper with rough texture. Its texture reminds me of Cutty Paper's watercolor paper. So the first white I'm showcasing, it's a Schmincke Academie Opaque white made with PW6. Schmincke Akademie watercolors feel a little bit too slippery for my taste, so they are in general not my personal favorites. This white is definitely going into the new white mix as I'm working my way through using all the colors in this palette until they are all gone. The second white is titanium white made with PW6 from the brand Arteza. Now this white comes as a tube and unfortunately it is very dry, so when I tried to dry it in a half pan, it got very brittle and bits kept falling off. It came in a set of 24 tube watercolors, which I don't believe you can buy anymore, and it was never available to buy as individual colors. This was one of my first sets of watercolors, and although I love it just for the journey that it provided me, the fact that I can't replace a color individually means that this palette is one of those that I will never replace when I finally use it up. For these reasons, this white will also be going into the new white mix. The next white I have is a handmade watercolor called Snow made with PW6 from the brand Paint Wild. These watercolors are made by Emma Witt and she created this white so it could also be used for calligraphy. It is very opaque and I don't want to get rid of it, but I thought it would be fun to showcase it here and compare it against the rest. The next white is in an 18 watercolor set from the brand Mia. It comes in this really cool travel box that doubles up as a water cup, and the palette opens up in a very unique way. The white in here didn't come with pigment information, but I do like the quality of the watercolors included in this palette, so I'll definitely keep this white in here for now. The last two palettes both have Winsor & Newton watercolors. The one on the left, and that is complete, is my very well loved palette with the full Cotman range, which is student grade. The palette on the right, which only has a few half pans filled in, has the Winsor & Newton professional range. The Cotman range only includes one white, which is Chinese white made with PW5. I have used up the two watercolor I had, but I have a couple of unopened half pans, so since the watercolor in this half pan is older, I will be adding this particular half pan into the new white mix. I will, however, replace it with one of the new unopened half pans, so I can keep this palette with the complete Cotman range. The professional range includes two whites: Chinese white made with PW4 and titanium white made with PW6. I have two watercolors of both of these whites, so I will be adding both of these half pans into the new white mix. I'm doing this because I can always choose to refill them again from the tubes that I own. Here is the final comparison of all the white swatches. I did a mass tone swatch, a gradient swatch, and a wet-on-wet dispersion swatch. I personally really like the Paint Wild white, called Snow, and also the Winsor & Newton Professional Titanium white, but I have to say that the Arteza Titanium white is actually quite good. In summary, the new white mix going into the Frankenpalette contains the following whites: Schmincke Akademie Opaque white, Arteza Titanium white, Winsor & Newton Cotman Chinese white, Winsor & Newton Professional Chinese white, and Winsor & Newton Professional Titanium white. I prioritized using the half pans first, and those filled up the Frankenpalette well to its full capacity. However, in the future I will keep refilling it with a tube of Arteza Titanium white. In order to transfer the dried half pan whites into the Frankenpalette well, I filled the half pans with water and let them soak for at least a couple of hours. I then stirred them with a needle tool, but a toothpick also works. If a couple of hours was not enough to fully rehydrate them, I added a bit more water and checked after a couple more hours. As a worst case, I transferred what I could from the top layers of the half pans, added again more water, and repeated the process of waiting and stirring. After they were all transferred and all mixed into the Frankenpalette well, I let the new mix dry for almost 3 weeks, since the wells on this palette hold a really big quantity of paint. And here are the swatches of the new white mix on the same papers I used for the rest of the swatches. I feel like the resulting mix is a good balance between all the whites that went into it. It is opaque enough to be worth using, but not as opaque as the Winsor & Newton Professional Titanium white, which makes sense. By the time I was nearly done editing this video, I had actually finished the black sketchbook. In total, I filled 5 double sketchbook spreads with gouache fruits, and the last 3 were done using the new white mix. I absolutely love how they turned out. It was definitely worth it going through the trouble of refilling the Frankenpalette. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this white watercolor comparison and this out-of-the-ordinary palette refill. I personally think I will eventually just stop using white watercolor altogether and completely switch to white gouache, but in the meantime, I will make the best use out of all of these whites. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, if you stuck around until the end of the video, go ahead and leave a leaf emoji in the comments below. It truly makes my day to know someone has enjoyed the video enough to watch all of it. Plus, emojis are cute and this also helps a lot with the algorithm and for my video to reach more people. Since I finally managed to finish the black paper sketchbook, the next video will be a sketchbook flip through, so go ahead and click the notification button so you are notified when that video goes live. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video!